I got into this business of information security, I think the back end way actually. I started out in the Air Force trying to drive planes, and after an unfortunate incident with my ear in a jet, they redirected me into what was then a very early starting of an investigative organization that had essentially a computer crime element. So this was 25 years ago, looking at people that were breaking into networks and doing it, by folks that actually understood what a modem was. Ask somebody to define blue boxing now, good luck. So I got into the idea of figuring out how people are exploiting systems. How are they breaking in? I actually worked a case 21 years ago here with the Met. That was pretty famous, so fun. That really transitioned into a career in IT security in the commercial space. So I've worked in software houses. My last firm was a consultancy we started, about 4 of us, called Mandiant, which was forensics and incident response, later picked up by FireEye. And it's interesting, that team that I've worked with, it's a very small community. So along those startups, our current CEO, Rohit Balani, our CTO, Aaron Higby, and myself, we all worked together a couple of times at those places. And in fact, even one of our board members, Kevin Mandia, worked with all of us. So fairly tight community with the idea of helping people solve some of these security problems. What is PhishMe and what's happening with us? So we started, believe it or not, about 8 years ago. The company itself was formed as a kind of legal entity about 5.5, 6 years ago. And the premise was, over those 20 years that I talked about, IT security has really been focused on technology. And it's probably natural. I mean, I'm a computer science guy. I'm a computer geek. So my first thought to solving a problem is automate. How can I fix that with technology? And our whole industry for 20, 25 years has been focused on that. And maybe we've done a pretty good job at it. The problem is that now the attackers have really shifted their methodology to attacking the people. And along those 20, 25 years, we've fundamentally done nothing to help the people. The idea that you can send somebody some horrid computer-based module or a PowerPoint, have them click through it and actually ingest and change their behavior based on that, it just doesn't work. You look at today, 90, 95% of the attacks start with something as simple as one of us falls for a phishing email. So the idea of PhishMe was, let's fix that. Our CTO, Aaron Higby, was looking at it from a very penetration tester model. Let's break into networks, and it was always easy to get in through social engineering. If we had a technical issue, we could put up a patch or build up a procedure or make a recommendation the customer could follow. But it was always a challenge to try to help fix those human behaviors. So he applied some thought and he's like, you know what? Let's turn this completely on its head. Let's step away from technology. Don't discount it. It's valuable and you've got to do as good a job as possible. But let's spend some time, some energy trying to help those people on the network become fundamentally more resilient, make them less likely to fall for attacks, but more importantly, get them more likely to tell their security team about it. So that was really the genesis of PhishMe. And what we've done is we've built a kind of a suite of product sets, a platform, if you will, where the end goal is letting a customer security team go, I've got a lot of reporting from my people about potential phishing attacks that are in their inbox. How do you get there? Well, the first step is you have to condition them. You have to help people understand what to look for, to take just a brief moment and think about what they're clicking on. So we run a process through our simulator product that helps people through real phishing exercises. And that's part one. And over time, you can reduce susceptibility pretty dramatically. In a year, average, you can bring it down from about 60% likelihood to fail to less than 10. That's pretty good. But the real value is doing something that we call reporting and building resiliency. So susceptibility goes downward, but at the same time, if you can encourage people to report things, then you get some great, great value. So we instance that by a very, very simple behavior. We put a little button inside all your mail toolbars for our customers, and we ask the customer's staff, I saw something that looked weird. Let me click on that button. None of this, horridly complex left click, save to the desktop, package up as an email and send it off to God knows where in the security department with no data around it. Just a simple, hey, I got something that looks weird. I'm going to report that. And then that gets packaged up and sent to the security team, and they collect this data en masse. So individually, perhaps of some value, collectively, massively of value. And there we cluster it and group it in a product we call Triage that lets us understand fundamentally the con job, that the bad guy was writing. Not the IP addresses, not what the malware is about, but what is the emotional trigger? What are we trying to do to the person? And then here's where the magic starts. Because you're running this kind of conditioning process and you understand the behavior, every person that reports something basically gets like an eBay reputation, right? So your security team can say, hey, that came from somebody that is really, really great at reporting this stuff, or it came from somebody that's possibly not quite so good. I want to look at the data that's of the value most important. So let's look at the stuff that's from the people that are really good at spotting this first. Now, will it be perfect? Obviously not. We're all going to fall potentially for a phishing attack. If you spend enough time and enough effort and target a person, you'll get them. But if we can get one person in the organization to report it, or maybe 2 or 10 or 100, before or as people are falling for it, you won't prevent a single point infection, but you have a good chance at stopping a big breach. And so that was the whole idea, was fundamentally focus on the people that are using the network, not just focus on the network by itself. Where's the future and where are we going? Well, we've seen crazy growth. We're global now, which seems kind of crazy after being 6 people in a basement getting it started. Our enterprise customer base is about 1,500 customers around the globe and about 30 million people. But it's really been enterprise-based. We work with large companies, which is pretty traditional in kind of this space. Just recently in the United States, we launched something that we call PhishMe Free. And what we wanted to do was give small businesses the ability to get some of this kind of capability at a price point and a capability level that fit what they needed. So we took our enterprise simulator, we made a very cleaned up, simple to run, not highly customizable, but basic and functional solution. And we've offered that free to companies that are 500 people and below, so that everyone can start working on that process of helping their people get better. Future point, we're looking forward, that's a US-based instance, and obviously UK or European customers can use it, but there's some data privacy issues that need to be addressed. We're aware of that. We actually run our enterprise instance here in Europe. We're going to build up a PhishMe Free instance here in London, and we're looking forward to working with the Mayor's Office has sponsored the London Digital Security Center, and we think that'll be a great place to launch it here in the next month or 2. So we think that'll be fun, and that'll bring some help, to much needed help, to the small businesses out there.